Good morning, good morning, good morning. It's me, Andrea Jackson, your life coach. Thank you so much for coming and being with us on this morning. We're going to enter into an amazing group about trust. So I'm about to admit some people in, so just hold on. Good morning, Sister Lorena.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, Miss Bianca.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. How are you?
Doing well.
Excellent, excellent. Just waiting for Sister Lupe to get her audio connected. But we're going to go ahead and jump right on in. She's here. She's going to be joining us as soon as her audio gets connected. But welcome, guys. Welcome, 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 and good morning to you. Today, we're going to be talking about trust. You know, sometimes with the practice of our compulsive behaviors, sometimes we lose trust. And sometimes we lose trust from people that operates in those compulsive behaviors. Good morning, Sister Lupe. So we're going to talk
Good
about,
morning.
good morning. We're going to talk about trust on this morning because trust is an emotion that sometimes is lost because of our behaviors or even because of the behaviors of others. And trust is a hard one to get back when we're restoring ourselves, when we're in our recovery from our unhealthy behaviors. They've caused other people to feel a certain way about us. Our behaviors, just like others' behaviors, they have caused us to have a feeling, a consideration, a judgment, or an opinion, or a feel about a person. And likewise with us. So, one thing that we're looking at today is trust. But before we get into that, let's get into our check-in today. I believe Sister Lupe was our first caller, then Miss Bianca and Sister Lorena. So we're going to go ahead and check in that order. So Sister Lupe, the floor is yours. Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. I'm glad to be here. I started off a good start today, and I'm just anticipating a good message on today and a blessed day as well. Amen.
That's right. That's right. Awesome. I love that. Starting her day off with anticipation, positive anticipation. That's great. Thank you, Sister Lupe. Miss Bianca?
Good morning, everyone. I am doing well on this morning. I too am in anticipation of this being a great day and how it's going to be a great day because I'm going to make it a great day.
I love it.
Thank you.
I love it. Thank you. Thank you. I'm going to make it a great day. It's my day to make it what I want to make it. And I'm going to choose to make it a great day. Starting our day off with intense anticipation and intention. I love it. Excellent. Sister Lorena, good morning.
Good morning. Well, I'm not doing as great as everyone else. I'm trying to be compassionate on myself and gentle to myself. Due to all these not feeling well and then grieving the loss of my loved one.
Yes.
I've kind of have a lot to catch up on, and it's taking a toll on me. But I'm here.
Awesome. Awesome. I love that. Although every day may not feel like a great day, may feel like a great day in the neighborhood, but it is still my day. And so I'm going to choose to be okay. So even though, like Sister Lorena said, I may not be doing my best and I may not be as well as everyone else is today, but guess what? I choose to be gentle with myself, compassionate, give myself the time that I need to feel and be better. I love that. Kudos to you. I salute you, Sister Lorena. You know, going through is not easy, but we get through it. We get through it. I love you guys. You guys are amazing. Today we're going to talk about trust. And I want to ask you, you know, we all have different unhealthy behaviors that we're trying to press through. We're trying to get over. We're trying to change. We're trying to operate in a realm that is opposing our past. Our past has been our teacher. History has been our teacher. It's identified that if we keep operating in these same behaviors, we're going to keep getting the same old thing. As you've probably heard, the definition of insanity is you keep doing the same thing, expecting a different outcome. After a while of doing it and doing it again and doing it again and again and again and again and again, we find that we keep receiving the same outcome. The outcomes is what let us know if this behavior is a good behavior for me or not. It might be a good behavior for someone else. It may be very fitting for the life that someone else lives. But what's my outcome? What's the impact on me, on my morals, on my conscious system? What's the impact in my family? What's the impact with my job? What's the impact with my finances? Yeah, I said family, but I even want to bring it closer. What's the impact with our children? What's the impact on our marriages? What's the impact on our friendships? So after a while, we began to see that this behavior is not necessarily a good behavior for me, or any of those variables I just named, or even our health, Some of our behaviors we find is very, very rough on our health, but we keep doing it and keep doing it, expecting a different outcome. They've defined that as insanity. Insanity. So what we're doing is we're destroying the insanity in our lives by simply changing our behaviors so that we can anticipate a different outcome. So today, I want to ask you, what are some, and I want to ask the question correctly, from the behaviors that you have experienced, that you have identified unhealthy, has it interfered with the trust between you and your loved ones? Please go ahead, unmute your phone and share.
Sister Lupe here. I think for me, one of the behaviors when I was in my addiction, I did, there was a time I did steal from my family members, or I didn't keep my word. So I know some of my relatives now don't trust me and will give my kids money and be like, don't tell your mom type of thing. Wow. You know, because I might take it. So I try to understand, because I mean, people believe that once a thief is always a thief. And I get there was some trauma there that, you know, even though I did apologize, they still, you know, they still cautious about that. So yeah, definitely, it was never rebuilt, the trust. I don't think I was even given a chance to, but I'm okay with that. And I know that that's just part of the consequences.
Yes. Wow. Thank you for that. I love that. Thank you for sharing that. Anyone else?
God bless you, Sister Lorena. I've noticed that my children keep a very close eye on me and will stick with me in fear of me relapsing.
Okay. Thank you so much for that. Isn't that something that trust is like, I trust you, I love you, but at the same time, we're still in fear. Is this a permanent change? Is this, is this something that we feel safe getting used to, or is there going to be a change of behavior? There may not be a lack of trust for, you may not want to say they don't trust you, because that may sound harsh, but they maybe are afraid of the process. Like Sister Lupe said, a part of the consequences from our behaviors is the impact and the response that our loved ones or folks that we care about, that they have to experience with us. So thank you for sharing that. Anyone else? Okay, when we talk about these behaviors, sometimes we have to be able to accept, and I like how Sister Lupe said, I have to be able to accept the consequences, because the consequences from my actions is they stole from me. I stole from them. And because I stole from them, even though I've tried to make the amends, and we talked about that yesterday in our Repairing Relationships group, we talked about trying to make those amends, but sometimes trust is the very last thing that's to become restored. And sometimes, and we have to accept this, that sometimes trust is not restored, because sometimes the people that we care about, sometimes they never ever trust us. Sometimes they don't give us a chance. Maybe we've made amends before. Maybe the offense was so deep. Maybe the trust was violated in such a way that now they really don't trust you. When we talk about trust, it goes in so many different areas, because sometimes, like Sister Lorena just brought out, sometimes it's not so much that they're saying they don't trust you, but they don't trust the process, because history has proven in time that there have been some relapses of behavior. And so therefore they don't trust that this is a permanent situation. Or sometimes people don't trust the boundary. They don't trust the boundary, because if we violate our own boundary, many times they never learn to trust it. We've talked about enabling on this line. Being firm to our boundaries is key, because we have to groom other people to trust our boundaries by trusting it ourselves. So having healthy boundaries with ourselves helps the trust process, because now I'm refusing to violate my boundaries, because every time, even though recovery comes with relapses, but we must understand when these relapses do occur, that they affect the onlookers, the people that we care about, and it kind of gives them an instability of trust. Thank you so much. I want to ask you, does someone not trusting you ever make you feel like going back to your old behaviors? Like if they don't trust you to not steal from them, not lie, or they don't trust you, your recovery process, does it ever make you feel like saying, forget it then, I'm just going to go back to doing that? Go ahead, unmute your phone and share.
Sister Lupe here. For me, I know that some relationships that I've had, that I showed, I went back to my old behaviors, such as anger, strife, and drama. And so now I'm labeled as that person. And it doesn't matter whether I came to the realization that I don't even have to prove anybody that I've changed, because I'm trying to prove myself first and foremost, right? But I noticed that when people do see the change, in the minute they might not hear what they want to hear or get what they want to get. Oh, you ain't changed. You're just a fake Christian. You're the same old bitter person. And sometimes I want to say, well, F you. I've been nice to you. You're lucky I threw that bag on the floor and not at your face. Like, let's look at, progress, like baby steps. You're lucky I didn't take off on you,
Right.
If I hang up the phone or slam the door at your face, that's a change for me.
Right.
I didn't slap you with the door, or I didn't throw something at you. So I notice it makes me want to go
Right.
Sometimes I've thought about it, and it does happen, but not to the extreme.
Okay.
Like slamming the door in somebody's face. But because I get tired of trying to be humble with the person that just has that label over me, or it's not that I'm proving that I've changed, because honestly, it depends who that person is. If it's somebody that obviously doesn't care about you, then you don't tell them that you change. But at the same time, sometimes it makes you want to go back to that old self, like, okay, yeah, I'm a Christian, but don't push me.
Don't
You know, don't push me.
I love that. Thank you so much, Sister Lupe. And please forgive my laughter. It was definitely with you and not at you, because it's so true. You know, I'm trying my best to walk in this, and people want to continue to define me according to my past. And it does kind of push you in a bad direction. You know, I think it was Miss Bianca that shared yesterday how people just sometimes, some people don't want to let go of your past. Some people do it purposely. Some people do it because this is what I taught them. But at the same time, it's very harmful. And it does make us feel like, hey, well, forget it then. You know, like I say, you better be glad I just slammed the door and hit you with the door. Anyone else?
Good morning. This is Bianca.
Morning.
Want to say with trust, it is something that is hard to get back.
Yes.
It's very hard to get back once you have lost that trust, or someone lost that trust in you. It's hard to get it back, and sadly to say again that you may not ever get it back.
Yeah.
Or it may not ever get to the place where it used to be.
Yeah.
One thing for me is yeah, I did I did some things, of course, that's just like, ooh, girl, really? And so I know that I violated some people who trusted me. And with that being said, do however they feel, I do that because I know for a fact that I violated it. With that being said, also there are some that feel that particular way about me just because somebody else feel that particular way, or because they done got the word. Not so much that I did it directly to them, not even so much I did it indirectly. It's just that I heard that you did this.
Right.
So now I'm not going. I can't trust her either. You know, she did that to you. Surely she'll do it to me, or whatever. One thing I had to realize, with that being said, one thing I had to realize also, that I have to come to grips that there will be some that will will not accept it, will not allow me to gain that trust back. Right. And it's okay. It's okay, because it is their priority. Right. If that's what they choose to do, then hey, I can't come up against what you choose to do. One thing I also learned is I got to trust me.
Okay.
I have to learn how to trust Bianca. Due to some situations or circumstances that I did, that I put my own self in, there are times where I have to trust Bianca. Okay. In these same situations, these same arenas, I got to trust Bianca, that Bianca has came beyond that point. Okay. That where what I used to do, or how I used to act, and all that. Don't get me wrong, Bianca's still human. Yes. So something's still gonna rise up. The word said, get angry, but sin not. That's the word. Get angry with you, but it's what I do in the anger. Right. I like what Sister Lupe said, be grateful that I didn't throw something at you. Right. That I slammed the door. Be grateful for that. That shows some kind of change. So yeah, but I had to learn to trust Bianca. Yes. To trust Bianca. because there are situations that gonna come that's gonna test Bianca,
Yes.
to see where is Bianca really at. It could be new people, it could be old people.
Mm-hmm.
And again, however they receive after I done went through the process of doing everything I can do to show that whatever they do with that afterwards, that's on them.
Yeah.
But one thing you ain't gonna keep doing, I said this on yesterday, you ain't gonna keep hammering me to the ground because of it.
Right.
And if you choose to do that, guess what? I ain't gotta stand by and listen to it.
Right.
I can move, I can shake the spot. I know how to do that very well.
Mm-hmm.
I'm done.
Okay, I see we got really personal there. Thank you so much for sharing. Also, remember, we are talking about people that we care about, because there are some people that, like both of you said, you're not going to gain trust. You're not that trust is going to be the last soldier that comes back, because of our past behaviors, because of some things that we've done, because of the lifestyle we live, because of the behaviors that we walked in. There's some people that's never going to trust us again. And that's an acceptance that we have to come to, because sometimes when you're trying your best and you're really trying to walk in this recovery change, or I'm trying not to handle you in that way, I'm trying to repair the relationship and make amends for what I have done by even simply just living this different life for myself. But they also, if we may say it, if it's the hurt of the people that we love and care for that helps us in this change, it's the negative consequences that we've seen, experienced, or received from our negative, our unhealthy behaviors. Those are the things that have brought us this desire to change, the negative consequences, the outcomes. It's a reason why that the people that we care about don't trust us in these areas, because we've taught them to, because of our unhealthy behaviors. So now that we're changing our unhealthy behaviors, it does impact us when they don't believe us, or when they don't receive us, or when they don't perceive that, wow, okay, she has changed. He has done a little something. So when we're talking about people that we care about, and Ms. Kashara, good morning. I see you just chimed in with us. We're talking about trust today. And I want to ask, has trust affected the relationship between you and the people you care about? You and your unhealthy behaviors, or the practicing of your unhealthy behaviors, whatever they may be, have they caused a distrust between between you and the people you care about? And we're talking about how that trust, how do we handle that when we experience that? Does it make you want to say, well, forget it, I'll just go back to, whatever it is that I used to do, whatever it is? Sister Lupe really laid it out on the line for us, how you're really trying to walk in your change, you're really trying to walk, abstinent of those unhealthy behaviors. But at the same time, that's all people see when they see you. That's they hold you and anticipate the old unhealthy behaviors, when you're really not trying to do that. And if they see even just a hair of it, how many times they'll openly accuse you, see, I knew you ain't changed, or they'll handle you in that way of old. How does that make you feel? I also want to ask you guys, excuse me, when people are suspicious, we talked about the unhealthy behaviors that cause the distrust between you and those that you care about. We talked about how it makes you feel. Does it make you feel like saying, forget it, I'm gonna go back to doing I'm just gonna be who I am, or who I was, or I'm just gonna do it anyway? And realistically, we do feel that way sometimes because we're trying so hard. But I also want to ask, does people's suspicion, oh, she's just gonna fly off the handle anyway, or they just gonna go use drugs. Don't give them that money. They just gonna do this, that, and the other. Their suspicion of you, does that cause you to feel the discontentment when people are suspicious? You ain't changed. Does that make you want to go back to the old behaviors? Please go ahead, unmute your phone, share. You can answer any of those questions if you like. How do you feel when people are suspicious? I wonder if she's sleeping with my man. I wonder if he tipping with my woman. How do you feel?
Sister Lupe here. So when they feel suspicious, right now, when I feel suspicious,
Right.
they could go in any other way. I think at first it was it'll hurt my feelings. But then when I put myself in their shoes and just kind of flashback all the stuff I did do, I understand. I understand a lot that goes on. Even when, like, for instance, when somebody stole my wallet, right? I mean, I did feel angry, but at the same time, I know that I've sold many wallets in my life, So it made me understand, like, when you are, whether a thief or in your addiction, whatever it is, it could be you're addicted to just taking things that don't belong to you.
Right.
Or shopping, so you need some money, whatever it is. I try not to get upset. Yes, I'm very impulsive, so automatically it's like, oh, what? And then I try to bring forth understanding because I want the same compassion towards me.
Right.
So I know I need to give it towards others as well. But definitely, in the beginning, when I started to change, when I stopped using, stopped taking things, I was very offended. I was appalled. And then when God started, kind of just, reminding me that all the dirt that I did, and He still loved me and forgave me, and how some people also, maybe not everybody, some people still love me and forgave me and support me like my mother does. I have to be grateful and and give the same grace to others as I was given.
Wow, I love that. I love that. Thank you, Sister Lupe. Wow, that was beautiful. I like how she said, when people show their distrust because of my past behaviors, it does make me feel, and that's what we're dealing with right now. It does make me feel. And I like how Sister Lupe took it a step further. She said, but what she started doing, she started practicing that more compassionate self-talk. She started looking back and she starts to understand. She starts to understand because she's been accountable. She's identified her negative behaviors or unhealthy behaviors, I'll say, because they're maybe not negative, but they're definitely unhealthy for us. Maybe healthy for someone else, but definitely unhealthy for us. So once she's identified it, and now she's put some work into it, and she's working into it. So therefore, what I'm trying, yes, I'm going to feel some hurt, some resentment when you don't recognize my change, recognize my progress. Instead, you just take me back in your mind and how you see to square root one. But the fact of the matter is, as Sister Lupe said, I feel the
so Stephen, he's gonna help us change the light on the car.
I feel the anger, but I understand. I love that. So that's how she deals with the suspicion, the accusations, the negative outcome. She understands. Anyone else? Anyone else? How do you feel when when people are suspicious of you, but the behaviors that you're trying to overcome, oh, she's just going to go off. I'm not going to talk to her, or, even with some of our behaviors that are unhealthy for us, but is a come up for somebody else. Because I know we've talked about enabling, how some people sometimes they try to use you to get what they need and want because of you are being that yes person. Your boundaries are too close, too enmeshed. So therefore, maybe sometimes now they see that you're changing, and now when you're interacting with them, you may not feel the weight of distrust, but what you may feel is a whole different atmosphere that comes between you. Because when people lose their opportunity of what they're gaining from you, and now you're moving into healthier places, it may not be trust that comes in between you, but now I can't necessarily, you'll see that the relationship itself has changed, where now your trust has been violated. Like Sister Lupe said, that could go both ways, because now your trust is being violated. How do you deal with that? Anybody unmute your phone and share, and you can answer any of the above questions. Anyone?
Bianca.
Mm-hmm.
So when I am, when somebody is suspicious of
Yeah.
something that I've done, or they heard that I've done,
They're
it
suspicious of you.
they suspicious of me,
Mhm.
right?
Because of your past behaviors. Yes.
Right. It do hurt, and also it causes me to kind of like I'll just back away.
Okay.
I'll back away. Because I mean, I'll try not to. I don't want people to be suspicious of me. I
Mhm.
know that's impossible, but but
Mhm.
I'll just back away. I'll refrain from certain things that may bring on suspicious.
Okay.
I'll may uh have bare to minimal conversations, or whatever it is. I'll just try to back up from it, so the suspicious won't be that they be suspicious, I guess. But here's what I do. That's the best I can put it. I'll just kind of back away.
Okay.
I'll just kind of back away, and uh, then you don't have to be suspicious, because
Okay.
I won't put myself out there. And even though it's not that I'm doing anything, but I just don't. I just ain't gonna put myself through all of that, because
Okay.
it's hurtful.
Yes, it is.
Hurtful. So yeah. Um. So
And
yeah.
remember, Bianca, we're talking about not just anybody, but we're talking about people that we care about, loved ones. So in your answer, because there are some people that you can easily just back away from, but there's some people that you care about and you love, that this effect has to bring about this cause has to bring about a different effect in your life. Would that still be your answer, that you would still back away?
I have. Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I back away until I don't know, until they may feel more comfortable.
Okay.
And if it don't never come to me, then well, I guess it never come to me. I don't know.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. This goes right in line what we were talking about on yesterday, repairing relationships. But as we are sharing today, sometimes that trust is the very last thing that's repaired. I want you to know that trust is an emotion. I can't make myself feel happy when I'm sad. I can't make myself feel sad when I'm happy. I can't make myself trust if I don't feel comfortable trusting. So like what Sister Lupe says, she flips it around, and she recognized what she's done that causes them to distrust, and she goes through her self-talk, process it through, and understand. Bianca says that when she's experiencing that distrust, it's hard to go through that. You're doing everything you can to change your behaviors, but some people are just not going to be in your yaya crew. They're not going to be in your cheerleading crew. So therefore, when you're dealing with the suspicions, when the trust has been affected between you and the people you care about, when the accusations are flying, what do? Bianca says, it's safer for me to just take a step back. I'm gonna love you enough to remove myself, or I'm gonna care for you enough, whichever, to remove myself from this uncomfortable atmosphere that I've created. Because remember, we're owning our stuff. We're not pointing the finger at them and say, hey, you should believe that I've changed. You should handle me different, even though we may feel that way. But we know, or we're coming to know, that we can't make someone trust us again. Trust has to be earned. Trust has to be earned. Sometimes trust is the last feeling that arises back in a person's life in restoring the relationship. And sometimes it never comes back. And then we talked about on the flip side, when your uncomfortable, unhealthy behaviors, when they were beneficial to someone else. So now the trust hasn't been affected. Well, the trust that they used to can come to you and get what they want, or the trust that, you know, they can come with you and y'all can go do the same thing, you know, that you guys used to do. Well, once you start changing your behaviors and everything, they don't necessarily trust your change. So sometimes they come to try your change. And I won't say they're coming to intentionally try your change, but they're coming because that was a relationship that you guys have, whether it's enabling, whether it's using drugs, whether it's lying, whatever it was, whether it's pornography addiction, sexual addictions, internet addictiveness, whatever the addiction or unhealthy behavior is, whoever you used to do the practice it with, what happens is now these people, that your change repels them. You're changed because you're not the same person. So that comes in between the relationship. So that may not be a distrust in the same way that we're talking about, in the same way of how it makes us feel because they don't trust us because of our old behaviors. But when they start distrusting you because you are changing old behaviors, how do you deal with that? How do you deal with the feeling when people purposely and intentionally walk away from you because you've changed? How do you deal with that?
It just
Anyone? How do you deal with that when you're no longer enabling that person? And so now they treat you different. They handle you different. How do you deal with that when you're no longer using drugs with them? How do you deal with that when you're no longer lying with them or for them anymore? How do you deal with those things? These are people that you care about. This is the relationships that you've had. And now you're changing and they don't like the change. How do you deal with that? How do you cope with that? Is that a hard one? Because that comes with purging our circles, you know, and purging our circle from people that we really care about because our behaviors change. Sometimes it hurts, you know, sometimes not so much because we grew a bond to care for them in the midst of our dysfunctional practices, in the midst of our dysfunctional behavior. So now that we're growing healthier, one thing that happens is we begin to have a healthier mindset. we're growing healthier. You may decide to have changed one behavior, but that one behavior change is helping me to become overall healthy because it has an effect. It has an effect. That one behavior change now has some different outcomes that's going on in our lives. That one behavior change, it'll begin to be like that snowball coming down and growing as a big avalanche. Because why? That healthy change helps us to see other areas that are unhealthy in our life. And we're dealing from a healthier mindset, and we're dealing from a healthier foundation, a healthier core. And because of that, we'll start changing some other things. So sometimes we wonder, well, now that I'm changing my unhealthy eating habits, how am I going to enjoy food again? Well, as you continue in the change, you're going to enjoy it. Well, how am I ever going to let go of the fried chicken? How am I going to ever let go of eating in the middle of the night? How am I going to ever let go? I'm going to miss that. I'm going to miss that. You know, if we stop gambling, you know, how are we going to have family gatherings? If we stop using drugs, how am I going to be social again? You know, sometimes we deal with that, but guess what? Through the change, the healthy change, all of that progress begins to answer itself. And a lot of the things of the past, you no longer even desire. So you don't even worry about how we're going to deal with it, because before you know it, it's no longer your appetite. So now that we're walking into a healthier you, what happens when people don't trust? How do you feel when people don't trust that you've changed? When they say, I knew you was gonna blow it. I knew you wasn't changed. I knew you're not, just like Sister Lupe say, you know, you ain't no Christian. You ain't no Christian. You know, just because you did something that in their eyesight, these are people you care about, you know, they're evaluating you according to their evaluation. How do we deal with that? How do we cope with the suspicions? How do we cope when people can no longer benefit from our unhealthy behaviors? How do we? How do we cope when people no longer want to be around us because our unhealthy behaviors, for one, have changed, or one, they don't believe that they've changed? How do you cope with that? Go ahead, unmute your phone and share.
Sister Lupa here. So I've lost some friends because I stopped drinking, because I stopped working at a bar where they could get free drinks from me. And it's like there's no more common denominator there.
Yes.
And at first, you know, it was like a hand in hand thing. I'll give you some drinks, you do my hair for cheap. So when I was trying to get my hair done this time around, I could, you know, she was never available. And I seen that since we don't have that in common no more, than no drinking, she kind of distanced herself from me. Wow. And also the awkwardness of her seeing my ex at the same bars. I think they even started hanging out at some point. Oh, wow. So not like that, but just, hey, what's up, you know? Yeah. So it was just awkward. I lost relationships even during a breakup as well, where we were invited to, of course, a married couple stuff, doing married stuff with other couples and hanging out. And as a single person now, I feel like, you know, I feel like a widow, or I feel like, you know, I have to be married to be able to hang out in certain groups now. And I understand, you know, I understand. But just going back to that, how do I handle when people don't believe that I've changed? You know, I just pay attention to the source. You know, where is it coming from? Is it coming from somebody that I really hurt in my addiction or in my behavior, and they just have that bitterness and resentment, which I helped cause? I have to be mindful that they're going through they're going through a forgiveness just like I am. And at the same time, either you love me or leave it. I mean, I'm not gonna spend my life trying to prove to you that I've changed. I mean, at the end of the day, we're accountable for ourselves.
Yeah.
So I just kind of not try to deal with it. If those that walked away because I've changed or they think I haven't changed. I just keep it moving because the beauty of this is that there's so many people out there, and then you could always make new friendships. You could always meet new people.
I love that. I love that. Staying hopeful and staying futuristic, not dwelling on the people of our past. And again, even though these are people we care for, some people we find that the common denominator has changed and they were only good for that time of our season. They were only friends for me in that time of my life. You know that we've heard the saying, some friends are for the moment, some friends are for a long time, some friends are for a lifetime. And we don't often, let's come off of the rated E for everyone movies. We're not often we don't often encounter friendships that last a lifetime. That's not going to be the majority of the people that you come into encounters with or associations with. Some people are going to be associations just for my now. Some people are going to be associated with me just because of what I can do for them. So one thing that we have to realize, and I like how Sister Lupe say is, hey, consider the source. What source are you? Are you a lifetime friend? Are you or were you a friend for the moment? Or has my continuation of my unhealthy behaviors, has it damaged our friendship to the point of no return? And if so, I'll have to accept that. I love that. I love that. Anyone else? The trust. We're talking about trust today. How do we deal with the trust when the trust, because of our unhealthy behaviors? We're talking about us now. We're not talking about necessarily anyone else. We're talking about us because our behaviors have developed some people's resentments towards us and some people's lack of distrust. It's also our change of behavior has caused some people to say, wow, high five. I'm so glad that you've come a long way. But then others will say, well, they're no longer to my benefit anymore, and walk away. And then some are like, I still can't trust you, because trust takes a long time. Even in a marriage, in a relationship with your kids, you know, when trust has been violated, even though you love that person with all your heart, and even though that person loves you, we must realize that when we violate trust, that trust usually is the last of the Mohegans that is returned, if ever returned, because sometimes people will never trust us again because of things that we've done. And then there has to be a process of acceptance that comes. Anyone would like to weigh in? I want to ask then, how do you feel? And I know you've answered it in a way. How do you feel when you're not trusted? Just kind of give me some feelings, not scenarios. Give me some feelings. I feel angry, or I feel depressed. I feel sad, or I feel excited. I get an urge of disgust. What feelings come about when you're not trusted? Talk to me. What are some of your feelings that you experience when you're not trusted?
Disappointment, anger, rejection.
Ooh, I love that, Lupe. I love that. Thank you. Anyone else?
Hurt and rejection.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you. Anyone else? There's a lot of feelings, and a lot of those feelings can cause us to just go back to our unhealthy behaviors. So we're learning what to do with them when we do feel distrusted, when we do feel like people don't see the new me. You don't see that I'm not like that anymore. You don't see it. And that makes me feel rejected. That makes me feel angry. That makes me feel very disappointed. What's some other feelings that we experience? Because these feelings that we're experiencing, that tells us that they can become the internal triggers that trigger us back to that old behavior. Remember, we have external triggers that trigger us to our old unhealthy behaviors, but we also have internal triggers when we feel criticized. You know, when you're trying to talk to people who you love and care for, you're trying to be a part of their lives, and all they can see is your past. All they can see is the actions of your past, what you did last summer, what you did to me 20 years ago. When that's all they can see, the disappointment, the rejection, sometimes you get the efforts or you just don't care. You're like, okay, well, I might as well do what it is that I was doing. You know, you don't believe that I'm not using anymore. It makes me feel like, hey, I might as well start using. But I want to say to you, in your healthier place, your mind might say, I'm not going to say that. They're not going to make me change. But what I want to say to you, the way our brain activity works, remember, your brain is not, it has no intellect. That's your mind. Your mind, that's the soul of who you are, the soul of the man, the soul of the woman. So what happens is sometimes your brain's function is just to bring the overall body into overall wellness, that everything is working in harmony. The brain is the central nervous system to everything. So when you are experiencing that rejection, your brain comes into orbit. They say, hey, wait a minute, body's not good. We're feeling rejection here. We're feeling disappointment. We're feeling anger. So what happens is your brain begins to now, by its neurotransmitters, by its chemical release, it begins to move you to do different things that used to work for you. Things that used to work for you that bring overall wellness. So at that moment, when you're feeling rejected, when you're feeling angry, when you're feeling disappointed because of the response, your brain's job is to bring you back into wellness, that well feeling. So when the brain starts doing that, what are some of the things? Remember, we talked about the dopamine, right? Dopamine is what? That's your pleasure system. And it rewards what makes you feel good, what makes you feel pleasure. So sometimes we identify that what we're feeling pleasure with is if I cuss you out, or if I go back to the unhealthy behaviors, even if right now for the moment, I go back to the unhealthy behavior to now resolve the discomfort that I feel, because that's the brain's job. That's the brain's job. If there's an infection in your body, your brain tells your antibodies, go right there, go get it. You know, if you fall and you stub your knee, stub your toe. Well, if you fall, you might stub your knee. But if you stub your toe, you know, automatically the brain, without you thinking, this is outside of your thinking system. Your brain has a function and a mind of its own. So therefore, it tells you what to do. When your right foot walks forward or steps forward, your brain tells your left foot, okay, now your turn. You don't have to keep this going in your mind. Your brain does that for you. So this is why we talk about our behavioral change until the change comes. We're resetting the brain, right? So in resetting the brain, there's some things where we have to jump in and bring our overall wellness, because if we don't, our brain is just going to go back to the routines that it has. If that means to maybe go and use, if it means to go and cuss this person out, if it means to go back to enabling, if it means to show your anger, if it means to go back to watching porn, if it means to go back to gambling, if it means to go back to internet addiction, sex addiction, spending addiction, whatever the unhealthy behavior was, your brain is saying, by right of its own internal working. When you feel a certain kind of way, it is the brain's job to say, we got to save the day. We got to bring her back into wellness. We got to bring him back into that state of pleasure. And that's how come we do these unhealthy behaviors, because they cause us some sort of pleasure. But now we're giving the body and the brain some restraint because we're restraining from those behaviors. So what can we do to help the process of reestablishing trust? What can we do? We have about 30 more minutes, and I'd really like to hear from you with a lot of resolve. What can we do? Go ahead, Miss. Oh, I guess not. Go ahead, unmute your phone and share. Miss Susu, are you trying to speak? Okay, go ahead, Sister Lupe.
For me, I would say consistency.
Okay.
Show some consistency in their change behavior. And yeah, so definitely consistency.
Ooh, I love that. I love that, because we can't reestablish trust with our kids, our spouses, our parents, our siblings, our friends, associates, the store owner down the street. If your unhealthy behavior was stealing out of their store, you know, how you going to reestablish trust if you still just, well, I ain't stealing big packs of meat. I just took a piece of candy. We got to show some consistency. I love that. Anyone else, please? Miss Susu, are you trying to speak? Uh-oh. Okay, I just put you on mute. Go ahead, unmute your phone and share, Miss Susu.
Oh, okay. I was saying that I'm just on, really. I'm not getting the whole thing. I'm just getting bits and pieces, but I know I heard something about feeling guilty, you know. But what was it about? Feeling guilty about what?
No. We were talking about trust. Feeling guilty was
trust, okay.
Yeah, we're talking about trust. How do we feel when people don't trust us, don't trust our change? And also, how do you feel when people respond to you different because you are changing your unhealthy behavior?
Okay. Well, anyway, I can't multitask right now, but I'm just going to be on. I just got to mute. It's confusing right now. So
Okay.
I'm going to mute out.
Okay. Thank you, Miss Susu. Anyone else? What can we do to help the process of reestablishing trust? I love what Sister Lupe say. Show some consistency in your recovery, because if we're dipping in and out and, you know, going in and out of anger, going in and out of whatever our unhealthy behavior is, if we're going in and out of it, it's hard for a person to trust that. You know, hey, I have compassion that you're trying to work it out, but where's the consistency? So helping to reestablish the trust comes with consistency and our new behaviors. That's beautiful. Anyone else? What else can we do to help reestablish the trust?
I would say have some consideration for the person that's trying to give the opportunity to regain the trust.
Okay.
Be considerate of how they feel.
Mm-hmm.
Because, you know, the things that I've done. So I need to consider they have their feelings, they, you know, trust they built or regained overnight. So be considerate of that.
Yes.
Be considerate of it. And continue to show love.
Yes.
Continue to show love as hard as it may be, but continue to show love that, you know, I do understand. I do understand that what I done was wrong, but I understand also that what I done, it hurts you,
Yes.
you know. And so now I'm gonna be considerate and I'm gonna love you through your process as you have loved me through mine.
Wow.
So yeah, that's what I would say.
Wow. Thank you, Bianca. That's a tearjerker. That's a tearjerker. You've been considerate of me in my unhealthy behavior. So now it's time for me to be considerate of you because you don't trust me. And I understand. I understand. I understand. You know, so many friendships, marriages, relationships, job, covenants, everything, they break because we don't have that consideration. And understand, it's a beautiful thing that a person will try to give you opportunity to regain that trust. You know, not, hey, it's you're gonna have to do this, that, and the other, jump over hoops to regain the trust. Not so much that, but even just to be present in your life and show that love and forgiveness and just that release, So I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that. Anyone else? All right, all right, all right. Trust. That's something that, sometimes it's the last thing to come back in a relationship, if at all. And one thing about it is we have to go through that process of acceptance. If that person don't trust us, at some point we just have to accept that. And that's a hard cookie to swallow. But at the same time, we're also taking account of our unhealthy behaviors. We're owning it. We're owning it. And accepting is one thing, we're being aware of it is another, but owning it is another. And owning it, I identified that I may have caused you some pain. I may have caused you some distress. I may have caused you some distrust. I may have caused you, and maybe it's just in that area. Maybe you don't distrust me, but maybe you don't trust me that I can share my secrets with you anymore. Maybe you don't trust me where I can talk to you on that level anymore, or that I can come and share maybe not a secret, but just a very private, discreet matter or personal where it might hurt. Your response might harm me. So some of our responses are some of the very unhealthy behaviors that we're trying to overcome. So I just thank you guys. We're going to go ahead and close early. A lot of people are multitasking and I understand that it's hard to participate when you're doing things like that. I'm just so grateful for you guys chiming in on this morning and talking about trust. How do we feel when when our unhealthy behaviors, we're owning this, when our unhealthy behaviors have caused a distrust, it's caused a wedge between us and the people we care about. Then how do we deal with that? And how do we work to reestablish that trust? And then when do we stop working to reestablish it? When do we accept that the trust is broken and I just have to live with that? By the grace of God, it can be restored, and some things will not be restored. And I have to accept that. So I'm just so grateful for each and every one of you chiming in today. Thank you so much for all of your feedback. Thank you for chiming in. Thank you, thank you, thank you. At this time, we're going to go ahead and close till tomorrow. Have a great day. And I want you to remember, live free, guys. Love you all. You guys are amazing. Continue in your process, no matter what. God bless you all.